Hi, I'm Katie.
And I'm Koli. Welcome to the S3E11 podcast, little witch detectives.
Wow, we're here. We're here. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I get you. Um, we're back.
We're back.
Had a momentary, very, very teeny tiny hiatus because I have so much going on.
Yeah.
But shall we get into things?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, this is the Witch Talk. It's the corner of the intro of our show where we catch you guys up on what we've been doing. I always laugh that it's a little redundant because Chloe and I pretty much talk every day. But we're catching you guys up on what we've been talking about. So like I said, I've been so busy. My brother was supposed to move the weekend before this last one, and some issues came up with the painters. Because I guess in between each unit, they clean it all out, replace the carpets, repaint, all that stuff, which is wonderful. So we were okay with it, and we had to push the move back a week. So I was moving him all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we finished at 8 o'clock last night. So I'm like a
Wow.
zombie.
Yeah.
And he still has some more stuff here at the apartment, but I'm using it as an excuse to hang out with him.
There
So
you go.
yeah, I was like, you gotta come over, and get the rest of your stuff. And while you're here, we can go to Target, maybe get lunch. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, but was just kind of a crazy weekend. And then this coming weekend, I'm moving my boyfriend in to my apartment. So I have to do it all again. And the worst part about it was I was the one driving the moving van.
Oh boy.
And for reference, for anyone listening or watching, I am 5'3", and I am a small human, and I was driving this huge van. It looked so funny. Like it didn't look like I was supposed to be behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And I was like pulling up next to people like, hi, just driving my little huge van. Um, but we figured it out. It got done. I am a little bit sad that he's gone, but excited for boyfriend to move in. So
Yes.
it's a weird like combination of feelings. And then we're in June now, so it's Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Um, and I'm going to Nashville Pride this year
Nice.
again. So towards the end of June, I'll be doing that. Um, but that's about all that's going on with me. Just work and yoga during the week.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
Um, I have had so many appointments, mainly physical therapy appointments. Um, I walked with a cane the other day in physical therapy instead of the walker, which is good. We're
Yeah.
making progress. Um, I went to my nephew's dress rehearsal for his recital on Friday, and he was so good.
Oh.
So lucky to have him in my life. And his mom's. I'm just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
He's the
was,
one that goes to the same dance place as Ryan, right?
yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah. I was supposed to have a date on Thursday, but the woman I was talking to on like ended the conversation and now I can't see her profile or anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
And that
understand.
was like a mess yesterday, all day.
Mm-hmm. Ghosting makes no sense to me, but I know a lot of people do it, and I'm not like faulting anybody for doing it, but I do think you were owed at least like a hey, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah.
Um, because that seems honest and fair, and you deserve that. So I hate that so much.
Yeah. Sorry, my therapist literally just texted me.
We are pro therapy on SVU Coven.
Yes. Um, but that's pretty much all I've been doing is going to appointments. I have a doctor's appointment after we finish recording today.
Mhm.
And tomorrow I have physical therapy. Wednesday I don't have anything. Thursday I have physical therapy. Friday I don't have anything. And it's just constant.
Do you feel like the physical therapy's been helping a lot?
I've only really done one session
Mm.
on the 30th. My previous appointment to that was like an intake.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. But I'm proud of myself for walking with a cane.
Yeah, and you were able to go to the dress rehearsal and to Applebee's, and I think all of that is great.
Yeah.
I was so excited when you sent me your spinach dip snap.
I crashed when I got home. We didn't get home until like midnight.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And
That
then I
sounds so
had to
late.
work on Saturday.
Mm. I'm in my grandma era. I was like, oh God, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Hmm. But I'm glad you're more out and about these days.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I'm not going to any Pride festivals this year because all the Pride festivals are like up here are June 8th, and I have a birthday party to go to.
Yeah, it's interesting because actually in Atlanta, we've probably talked about this before, but in Atlanta, Pride is in October.
Mhm.
And it's because Atlanta had a Pride festival before Pride Month was established, like a very old Pride festival that would happen in October.
Yeah.
Um, so they decided to keep it, which I think is kind of badass instead of changing it to June.
Mhm.
But Sassy, my other good friend, friend of the show, they live in Tennessee. So I get to go to like the Nashville Pride in June and then Atlanta Pride in October.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I love being gay.
Yes.
It's
I
so much fun.
I really want to go back to New York Pride, but the way that I'm doing things right now, like it just wouldn't be feasible.
Yeah.
Probably
But
be too hot.
yeah, that's another thing that I prefer having Pride in October because in June in the South, it's like sitting in a hot box. Like it's just you walk outside and the humidity's like, hey, have some sweat. Just
Yeah.
here you go. So yeah, it's real hot right now.
I haven't been to a New York Pride since I was a kid.
Hmm.
My first Pride was a New York Pride.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
6.
And I was 6.
And on the way there, my mom and her partner um were telling me about the um fact that women don't have to wear tops in New York. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
completely topless.
Mm.
And my mom was like, you don't have to do it, and we're not going to do it, but you might see some women there who are completely topless. And I was like, okay. I was listening to Cher on the way there.
What a time. That makes me think of that episode of The Bold Type where have you seen The Bold Type? I don't know if we talked about it. I think you'd like it. But there's an episode where they are talking about how women can be topless and they're all in their like early 20s and they all gather in this park and just like take their tops off. And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
We're just like, here, it's legal. We can do this.
Yeah.
It's cute.
That's about it.
Speaking of New York.
Yeah. This is the Mariska slash SCU corner where we talk all things Mariska and SCU. Not much going on the SCU front because we're on hiatus. We're on summer hiatus. Mariska is being honored at the inaugural Gotham TV Awards on June 4th, which is tomorrow from the day we're recording this.
Mhm.
And I think it's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait to see what she's wearing.
I know. I've been loving your little tweets about her outfits and stuff.
Yeah,
It's so cute. I feel like not a lot's going on with her lately
no.
because I haven't seen her post a ton.
I feel like she's taking some much needed R&R.
Mm. She deserves it.
Yeah.
A busy year for her, I feel like.
She did an interview with Universal,
Mm.
um, and she was talking about directing Children of Wolves, and usually directors have 8 days to prepare. She's like, I had two.
Oh, I had two.
Yeah.
And yet she still did a fabulous job.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, shall we move on?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my astrological weather report. Koli named it that.
Yeah.
So there's not an actual huge difference going on aside from the fact we are in Gemini season, the season of Stevie Nicks. Uh, that means there's a lot more like open space for learning. Geminis are very uh inquisitive and they love to learn new things. So one of my favorite things to do during Gemini season is to learn a new skill that I haven't before. I think Koli's a great example of this because they're learning French
Yes.
right
That
now.
was something I forgot to mention in my witch talk. Yes,
um,
learning French.
mhm. And I think it's a great like month out of the year, especially with it being summer and it's kind of a transitional period for us with summer solstice and all, to take some time to learn a new thing, whether that's reading a book, watching a documentary, like learning a new skill, a new activity you can do, a new game you can play, anything like that. Because it really is the time to tap into that energy.
Mhm.
Um, and we really don't have an overwhelming, like, we're in a good astrological month where nothing too big or monumental is happening. Um, so I encourage you to take advantage of it and rest, take care of yourself, but also find something new to do, a
Yeah.
new activity. Even if it's like going to the park for a little while and having a picnic or something. It doesn't have to cost money or be like any kind of huge investment. Um, just learning something new. My favorite is documentaries. I'm actually watching a documentary right now before we started recording about Mary Kay Letourneau.
Mhm.
Um, and it's super fascinating because I've never watched it before. I've only seen like dramatizations of what happened. So
Yeah.
this is a documentary with people that knew her. It's on HBO if anyone's interested. Um, but yeah, I like documentaries or books for learning new things just because I'm boring. But I'm sure there's other things, other ways. Um, but yeah, I think that's about it for the for astrology corner.
Okay. So this past week, Ice-T called Lenny Kravitz a weirdo because he's been celibate for 9 years.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Have you seen Lenny Kravitz? I can't even like, and him and his ex-wife were like the most sexual. And like they have a beautiful daughter who's also very sexual, like very proud of her sexuality and stuff. And it just blows my mind. I don't know whether to be like good for him or ew.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what?
Right. And then Ice was basically in that same boat where he was like, no way, I would never do that. Ice on Twitter, follow him. It is a good decision.
Yeah.
Um, I can't even remember everything that he was on like a rampage about it, and he was like he couldn't relate.
Oh, really?
I think I don't know if he deleted them or not, but there were a couple tweets about it where he was like, I could never be like that, essentially. and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that is
Um,
funny.
I feel like Ice has nothing to do, so he sits at home and comments on things.
Yeah,
I love him though.
yeah.
Um, I'm interested to see if more comes out about that too, because as someone who follows like the Kravitz family, I am interested to see if anyone else says anything or if he does a more in-depth like interview about it.
Mhm.
Because also the tangent, I'm interested if there's health benefits to that or if it's negatively impacting his health. Um,
It's weird because I've heard like competing arguments about men not having sexual gratification.
mhm.
Some say it's healthy, and then some say it's really bad for their prostate.
Right.
So I don't know.
I don't know either. So I'm interested about that. If anyone else knows,
Yeah, if
tell
you,
me. I just find it fascinating.
yeah, maybe like if it's prolonged, it's bad for the prostate, but like no nut November is fine.
Right.
I,
And then like I wonder what it does to your mental.
yeah,
Because having it is so good for your mental health.
yeah.
So interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. I think that's all for Lenny though, right? Or an ice.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
don't think there's any more.
All right. Well, hi guys. If you don't follow us on social media already, we are on Instagram at SVU Coven. We post there the most. So any updates, like if we go on hiatus or we have new episodes or anything like that, we do post on Instagram more frequently. We also have a Discord server that's free to join. So while you're over there on our Instagram, if you click the link in our bio, you can find all of our links. But the Discord one is there for sure. It's free to join and it's a cool way to connect with us more intimately. And eventually, one day, if we get a little more people in there, I would like to do like events and stuff in the Discord.
Yeah.
Uh, if you do join, let me know. You can DM me on Discord or throw it in the tarot channel on there, and I will give you a free tarot reading from me to you. However, if social media is not a medium that speaks to you, I totally get it. It rarely speaks to me. um, you can always email us at svucoven@gmail.com. Koli does check the email, so someone will see it and respond, and they share all the emails with me as well. So we both see them. We love hearing from you guys, even if it's just like to say hello or talk to us. Email is a great place to reach us. Likewise, if you want to sponsor the show or be on the show or have questions you want us to answer, anything like that, email is the best place to do that so we can keep track of everything. Also, we have merch. I'm not wearing it right now, but it's super cute. We designed it ourselves. It's through Fourth Wall, and all the proceeds go to Fourth Wall as well as to us, and we put that back into the show. And
Yeah.
I think eventually one day we're gonna have one or two more merch drops coming up.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you do buy any of our merch, whether it's a coffee mug, beanie, hoodie, any of those things, we would love to see you guys with the merch. So you can always tag us on Instagram or email us photos. It would make our day.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah. So this is your episodic reminder to rate, review, subscribe, like, and comment. Rating and reviewing are the nicest things you can do on an audio only platform. It tells the algorithm that you like us and will recommend us to other people. Rating, subscribing, liking, and commenting are the best things you can do on YouTube. They tell the algorithm that you like us and they'll recommend us to other people. Um, and if you hit that little bell in YouTube, you'll be notified when we upload. And we have a coffee. So you can go onto coffee and donate $1, $3, $5, whatever. Um, and all that money goes back into the show. It's not mandatory, it's completely voluntary. And yeah. we appreciate the energy exchange on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds. Woo!
Shall we move into our self-love affirmation?
Let's do it.
Today's self-love affirmation is really simple. 2 words. And it's something you can repeat to yourself throughout the day. Looking in the mirror or going through like every hour if you're like me and have really crappy self-esteem. Go through every hour and say it. And it's I matter.
I love that because I've also been, that's one of the ones I could use regularly.
Yeah. So that was our self-love affirmation. If you're not driving a car or a forklift, feel free to close your eyes and meditate on that for a minute. Remember to breathe. Whether you're driving a car or a forklift or not. And meditate on the fact that you matter.
Sounds good.
Should we get into the show?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, today we are covering season 3, episode 11, Monogamy. Yeah. So we open on a couple fighting in a parking garage, getting ready to leave. The woman goes to open the passenger side door and says the door is all wet. She looks at her hand in the headlight and it's covered in blood. Olivia arrives on the scene before Elliot. Elliot pulls up and Olivia mentions it was Fast from Queens. Elliot said he stayed in the city that night. And the EMTs are wheeling out the Vic, Nicole Manning, on a gurney. She's in and out of consciousness, in rough shape, but alive. Olivia rides with them to the hospital. Elliot is talking to a uni at the crime scene. He asks how many stab wounds there were. The uni says she wasn't stabbed. Olivia's riding in the back of the ambulance as the EMTs are working to keep Nicole alive and her BP up. Nicole seizes and loses her pulse. They say it looks like she had an emergency C-section. Elliot asks if there's any sign of a baby. The uni says the sick son of a bitch must have took it with him, and then we done. The doctor is going over Nicole's injuries with Olivia. Elliot talks with the parking attendant, and Cragen arrives at the hospital. Craig and Olivia question Nicole's husband. He says they were supposed to meet for dinner at 7, but she's always late, so he didn't worry immediately. Nicole's husband is a psychiatrist in Midtown. Olivia asks if he was intimate with Nicole in the last 24 hours. He says no, and they think she may have been assaulted, and Olivia asks for a blood sample. Cragen asks what he did when Nicole didn't show up to the restaurant. He says he called her, and after an hour he left. Sorry. Says no one would want to hurt Nicole. She's a good person. And he has a little slip up here. He says she was a good person and then corrects himself to say she is a good person. But I feel like that happens to everybody. So no huge red flags going up yet. Munch and Finn arrive on the scene and are talking about fingerprints on Nicole's car after they rule out parking attendants, friends, family, and every valet in the city. The perp took the cord and placenta. Elliot comes in from a door. He thinks how he got in and out. He cleaned up before the perp cleaned up before he left with antibacterial wipes. Finn asks why the perp took the baby. Elliot says maybe he didn't want Nicole dead, he wanted her to suffer. Olivia says the husband's credit card and cell phone records put the husband at the restaurant, and Elliot mentions the blood sample ruled him out from the rape kit. He's type AB positive and the perp is type O negative. Prints found belonged to Kyle Novacek, who did time for assault 3 and heroin possession, Cragen gives Munch and Finn orders. Nicole is an RN at a methadone clinic. Cragen surmises it's their connection. Maureen walks into the squad room and asks to speak to Elliot. Olivia says they'll hit the methadone clinic. Novacek could have been a client. Cragen asks if they had anything from the hospitals. No preemie newborns have been turned up yet, but the hospitals are on alert, as are all forms of public transportation. But they've been notified, or have been notified, to look out for the baby, but so far nothing. Cragen says they'll have to widen the search. Olivia asks Maureen about school and if her college applications are in. She says pretty much and then leaves. Olivia asks Elliot if everything is okay, and he says yes, then asks if she's ready to go. Munch and Finn go to talk to Kyle Novacek at his work site, construction. They ask him about his prints on the car. He says that he test drove it because it was for sale. He asks if Nicole got hurt. They ask where the baby is, and he asks if the baby is okay. Finn asks for a DNA sample, but Kyle declines and says that they had something, they'd already be in the back of his car, or he'd already be in the back of their car. Finn says to count on there being more. Ellie and Olivia go to the methadone clinic to talk to admin, but she says that the methadone clinic clients are confidential. Olivia tries to talk her into giving up the client list to save the baby. The admin says they only had a problem with one other nurse, Erin, who was diverting methadone for herself. She was arrested, lost her job and her nursing license. Ellie and Olivia go to pay Erin a visit. At her apartment, Elliot asks Erin about a boyfriend. She asks if he's coming on to her, that she's into that, and that Olivia can watch. I love it when people, are assuming Elliot is flirting with them, and they're like, your friend can watch. It happens multiple times.
Yeah. Funny.
Elliot asks her questions about Nicole. It's uncovered that Erin has a son who was taken away by 2 cops and someone from social services. Olivia said it must have stung. The woman who ruined her life is having her own baby. Erin says Nicole pissed off the wrong person. Look what happened to her. Olivia asked who Nicole pissed off. Erin says she doesn't know. Olivia says she thinks Erin does. Erin says Nicole asked for it and she got what she deserved and that she had nothing to do with it. Elliot says someone scared the hell out of Erin to shut her up. Elliot gets a call and Ellie and Olivia go to an alleyway where Melinda is carrying a baby's body wrapped in a sheet. Olivia asks if they're sure it's the Manning baby. Melinda says it's the right size and the decom fits the timeline. Melinda says she's sorry, and Elliot asks what it was. Melinda says it was a little boy. Ellie and Olivia go to talk to Nicole's husband in Nicole's hospital room. He worries about filing paperwork and making arrangements before Nicole wakes up. Elliot asks him about Erin. Erin asks Nicole to testify in the hearing about custody of her son. Nicole didn't do it. Erin left a few screaming voicemails on their phone. Nicole's husband wanted to call the police, but Nicole wouldn't have it. Olivia asked how Nicole was doing. Her husband said they performed a hysterectomy, and he doesn't know how he's going to tell her that they'll never have a family. And I put in parentheses here, ew, there's more than one way to make a family. Because that is one of my biggest pet peeves, is when something happens or someone is infertile and they're like, well, we'll never have a family now. I'm like, no, there are so many ways to make a family.
There are so many ways.
Munch and Finn are at the Emmy, and Melinda is going over the autopsy of the baby. Cause of death was a subdural hematoma caused by blows to the head. Whoever did it didn't want the baby to survive. Finn mentions that the perp kicked Nicole in the abdomen. asks if there's any way the beating could have caused the injuries. Melinda says there's no way of knowing if the injuries occurred in or ex utero, but there was no effort to save the baby. Finn asks how long the baby lived for, and Melinda says she's working on figuring that out. Punch says if there is a God, it wasn't long. And we spell break.
Woo!
Okay. The color of the day is lavender. The incense of the day is neroli. And this is called Hooray for Herbs. Today is Herb and Spices Day. Many staple foods taste bland by themselves. The flavor of dishes made with them comes from herbs and spices. From cooling mint to hot peppers. We also get many magical ingredients and medicines from them. Take time today to thank these plant allies for their help. Summer is a fine time to walk in a garden. Then the heat draws out the perfume of herbs, spices, and flowers. If you don't have a garden of your own, visit a botanical garden, park, or other place to grow such things. See how many you can recognize and identify. As you walk, say herbs of earth and spice of flame, known by scent and taste and name. Thanks for blessings you bestowed as we walk this mortal road. Other ways to show your appreciation include learning about herbs and spices, planting new ones, cooking or crafting with them, and trying ones you haven't tasted before. And that is by Elizabeth Barrett. And that was for the 10th, which is when this episode will be going up.
Right.
You're welcome. Kyle Novacek's alibi, which was he was taking a class at Brooklyn College, cleared him, which leaves Aaron as their only suspect, assuming that they can find the man who was her partner in crime. She's a patient at the methadone clinic where she used to work. They want to bring her in for a drug test. If she fails, they have leverage to make her talk. Finn says the one appointment a heroin addict is going to keep is a methadone clinic appointment. Ellie and Olivia go to the methadone clinic and wait for Aaron outside in the car. Olivia asks if he thinks they missed her, and Elliot says that she needs her fix. She's coming. Olivia said she could have gotten it this morning. Elliot says if she wants to leave, she can go ahead. Olivia says, or he can stop being a jerk and tell her what the hell is going on. Elliot didn't write a check or didn't send a check in for the Columbia application, and Olivia asked if it was too late. Olivia asks what's going on, and Elliot says he's been distracted. Aaron shows up. They bring her in for a drug test, which she fails. She tells them to arrest her. They say they have 24 hours, give or take. Ask her what happened to her face. She says they got hit. And then begs for soda. They say as soon as she tells them who she's been hiding from, when she says no to Olivia, Olivia says she's going down for all of it. Olivia says that she didn't have anything to do with it. They finally get her to talk, and she gives them a name, and it's Kyle. Kyle is Nicole's boyfriend. Munch and Finn go to arrest Kyle and basically tell him what he did. He denies any of it and says the baby was his. Kyle mentioned that Nicole's husband was probably catching on to the affair, and Olivia says that he never mentioned anything about it. Nicole is awake. All Nicole remembers is being hit in the back of the head. She didn't see who did it. She woke up in the hospital and they told her what happened. Elliot asks about Kyle. Nicole says she's been seeing him for a year. That she had seen him that afternoon, says he couldn't have done it. Kyle wants to get married, but everything changes when you're having a baby. It's about what's safest, not what's going to make you happy. Nicole told her husband she was leaving him and that the baby wasn't his. Nicole thought he would be angry, but he was really calm. And Nicole says they were meeting at 7:30, but Richard told them 7. We finally have a name for Nicole's husband.
Woo!
I hate it when they go like
the whole episode
without giving you a name, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, his name is whatever."
Right. And when I do the notes, I'm always like, oh my God, did I just miss it? Like, am I just dumb? Is there no name? Then we get there and they say it for the first time, and it's like almost the end of the episode, and I'm like, well,
Yep.
I'm not going back to replace the name the whole time.
Yeah, that's why there was a lot of Nicole's husbands, because I wasn't going back and changing the name. Alex asks why Richard wasn't a suspect to begin with. Elliot says none of the evidence pointed to him. Wong weighs in. Psychiatrists go through 4 years of medical school and a 1-year medical internship. Olivia says that because of that, Richard would know how to do a crude C-section. Cragen wants Richard's alibi broken. There are a few holes they can weasel through. He bought a drink at the bar at 6:59, but the bartender doesn't remember seeing him leave. He made 2 calls to Nicole at 7:50 and 7:52 to her cell in their home. The cell company would have a better idea where he was when he made the calls. Wong says that Nicole carrying another man's baby could have pushed him over the edge. He was cuckolded. Most species aren't naturally monogamous. Finn asks why he didn't kill Nicole. In Richard's mind, the problem was the baby, not Nicole. Get rid of the baby, get rid of the problem. Elliot walks out to the elevator and Olivia follows. She says everyone in the squad room is on his side, but they're not mind readers, and that it's okay if he's not gonna say what's going on, but there isn't a whole lot they can do. Elliot opens up to Olivia that he's struggling with how to balance work and his personal life. Olivia says not talking at all is no solution, and he says one of them, meaning him and Katiee, has to be able to sleep at night. Elliot says Katiee thinks he's shutting her out. Olivia says he is, and if he's not careful, he's going to ruin the best thing he's ever had. Elliot and Olivia go to the cell company because the GPS wasn't enabled. They can't give a precise location, but they can tell which cell tower he was using. He was using cell site 24 near Lincoln Center, not far from where Nicole was attacked. Richard belonged to a gym near Lincoln Center. He wore a long coat and carried a duffel bag, made the calls to establish he was looking for Nicole, showered, and went home. Wong says he wouldn't have taken a cab home. It would be one more witness he didn't need. The duffel bag probably had everything in it. He needed something to carry the baby along with the murder weapon and blood evidence. Cragen wants Wong in on the search because he knows how psychiatrists operate. Time to give up the trade secrets. Richard's clothes are highly organized and folded neatly. Olivia says it looks better than her whole wardrobe.
Probably true.
Yeah. Wong finds a myriad of personal hygiene products, enough to open his own salon. He has gym equipment in the room, and Wong says he has feelings of being unattractive and unmanly. He's probably a brilliant psychiatrist and wants to maintain order over everything in his life to feel like the man he wants to be. Richard comes home in the middle of the search. Elliot has a tech luminol his keys, and they find it. Blood evidence on his mammogram keychain. They bring him in for questioning. They bring Wong in to shrink the shrink, and Richard says it seems unnecessary because he didn't do anything wrong. Olivia asks if his wife did. Richard says no, and wouldn't say Nicole was leaving him so much as going to the father of her child. She thought it was the best solution. Wong says it was the wrong solution, and her problem no longer exists because there is no child. Yeah, I know.
Sure.
I hope that weird.
No, like it is what happened. My brain was like, what? I was so sorry. I keep muting and because I keep sneezing.
It's okay.
I was like, the poor audio listeners don't need to hear me hacking up a lung. So.
Olivia said that Nicole was never gonna marry Kyle. She just wanted to get away from Richard. Richard insists that she doesn't know what she wants. and must have felt their relationship was lacking. And Elliot asks what he was lacking. And I love this line. What are you lacking, Dick? Elliot says Richard thinks he's smarter than everyone else.
Huh. It's almost like people with that name feel that way.
Yeah. Olivia says Nicole made Richard look stupid and he made her pay for it. Richard insists he loves her. Elliot says he almost killed Nicole, but Wong says no, he killed the baby. He just wasn't smart enough to do it right. Nicole will never have kids again, and neither will he. Richard says it messed everything up, meaning the baby. And I hate it when people refer to babies as it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
reminds me so much of that book, A Child Called It.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Also, well, I guess, season 3 was a long time ago. I was
Yeah.
gonna say in this day and age, if you don't know, like we use different pronouns.
Yeah. Alex says to arrest Richard. They have him on attempted murder, assault, and abortion. Elliot mentions the murder of the baby. Now, when I'm talking about murder here, I'm talking about the charge.
Mhm.
So, YouTube, don't yell at us. Alex says they need to establish that the baby was a person under New York state law, meaning that it was born alive. Neonaticide is notoriously hard to prosecute because the medical evidence is almost always inconclusive. The best they'd get him on for the baby is a legal third trimester abortion, a D felony. Elliot says the only reason the baby is dead is because Richard bashed its skull in, and he doesn't care if you call it a person or not, that's murder. Alex says that argument could be used to criminalize legal abortion and asks if he really wants to go down the road of giving the fetus rights.
That's oddly topical
Yeah.
for what we're currently going through.
Yeah. Cragen gives orders for Ellie, Olivia, and Alex to park themselves in the Emmy's office to get the solid medical evidence they need. Melinda runs down the signs that the baby was born alive. Elliot asks what it means in English, and she says he took a breath, probably more than one. Alex says she's going to drop the attempted murder charge for the attack on Nicole and add the murder charge of the baby. They can only have one theory of the crime. Either he was trying to kill his wife or his child. And this next line is not very inclusive, but I'm trying to quote Mariska here in some way. I'm paraphrasing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mariska's husband, Peter Hermann. As Counselor Trevor Langan.
We love Peter.
Yes. And he's so little in this one. It's the baby.
Also, it's funny, like, calling him Mariska's husband to me in the way that people, like, refer to famous wives as the wife of whatever. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like when people are talking about Tom Holland and they call him Zendaya's boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's funny.
It's funny, though, because inside the actor studio, which is where I was quoting or paraphrasing from.
Yeah.
The guy who does the inside the actor studio asked her to introduce Peter, and she said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Hermann, or my husband, Peter Hermann."
My husband. That's so cute.
Trevor tries to poke holes in the theory that the baby was born alive, asking if tests were run multiple times, and asking if the baby can take a breath before it is fully expelled from the uterus and then die before complete expulsion. This has never made sense to me because Richard did a crude C-section. So the only way that the baby would be able to take a breath is if it was fully expelled from the uterus. Because you go in and take the baby out of the uterus. So I have never understood that part.
Yeah.
Melinda says it's possible. Alex says with the with the cross, he walks on the murder charges and gets 3.5 to 9 for the assault, out in 2 unless he gets off entirely due to extreme emotional distress, unless they get a confession. Elliot goes to see Richard in Rikers, tries to get him to confess. Richard takes the stand and makes the case that he had a complete break with reality. Alex introduces new evidence that Munch and Finn had just brought her. Trevor argues that it wasn't made available in discovery, so it can't be introduced. The judge lets it in. No recess for Trevor. Alex asks Richard if it was possible he was the father of the baby, or if his wife was having another affair he didn't know about, because Kyle was not the baby's father. Richard says he would have known if the baby was his. And then Alex leans into the witness box, and like, this would never happen in a real trial because the lawyers aren't allowed that close to the witness box. But she leans in close and says, "Did your son cry before you killed him?" And Richard is like tearing up and says he only cried a little. And then we Dick Wolf.
Wow, what an episode. It's such an intense one.
Yeah. Well,
And
Kate Sheffer, go ahead.
Well, I think it's also disheartening that we're having the same kind of conversations 20 years later,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. While Katie is shuffling her tarot cards, this is your second episodic reminder to rate, review, subscribe, like, and comment. Rating and subscribing are the kindest things you can do on an audio-only platform. It tells the algorithm that you like us and will recommend us to other people. Reviewing is just really nice. We lost all the reviews when we switched podcast hosts, and we would like it back. Subscribe, liking, and commenting are the most important things you can do on YouTube. They tell the algorithm that you like us, and they will recommend us to other people. Plus, Katie's always in the comments, so you can go hang out with her there. We have a coffee. If you want to go and donate $1, $3, $5, however much, it's not mandatory. It's completely voluntary. We will put all that money back into the show, and we appreciate the energy exchange on all of it.
Wahoo! So, the cards never lie. I had a jumper and it was the 5 of Swords. I'm using the Trip and Wait tarot deck. I know you guys know that, but look how pretty.
Yeah.
So the 5 of Swords is kind of indicative of feeling defeated. You may be having tension with family or friends, or feel like someone's taken advantage of you, or maybe something that you've been succeeding at or winning at, and you feel like maybe that was taken away from you, or somebody else won or achieved it, and it might have been unfair. Any kind of unfair, taken advantage of situations is what I'm really feeling from this. Feeling defeated, things like that. I know that I've been going through something similar, just being busy and not achieving to my full ability, if that makes sense. And so to me, this card is saying, hey, we're human, it's life. We're not always going to win. There's always going to be negative people in our space. And how do we deal with that moving forward? How do we not let it impact our peace? So my advice based on this card, and maybe I'm also speaking to myself a little bit, but going back to Koli's self-love affirmation and reminding yourself that you truly matter, and the work you do matters, and the person you are matters. And if someone's taking advantage of you, or you're feeling defeated, or like you can't achieve the things that you want, that's untrue.
Yeah.
And it's a narrative that's false. And so working towards changing that narrative is going to be key moving forward here. And maybe you can even use Gemini season as a way to help with that, learning new things and feeling a sense of accomplishment and worth through that.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to love on yourself a little bit extra this week. If you're still hanging out with us, we are on social media at SVU Coven on Instagram. Feel free to follow us there. You can join our Discord server from the link in our Instagram bio. If you're not on Instagram, you can always email us at svucoven@gmail.com. Koli does check it, so someone will be responding to you, and we can send you the Discord link there as well. If you're still hanging out with us, drop a comment if you're on YouTube with your favorite emoji, or hop over to Instagram and share your favorite emoji with us, and we'll know you came from this episode. Also, we have merch through Fourth Wall. The proceeds go to Fourth Wall as well as to us, and we'll put them back into the show. If you buy any of our merch, we would love to see it. So please send us photos on Instagram, Discord, email, whatever. We would love to see it. We love hearing from you guys. If you're interested in being on the show, sponsoring a show, running ads with us, or even have questions you'd like us to answer on the show, email's the best place for that as well. Woo!
Okay. We
I
did it.
think that's it. We did it. All right. Well, I love you so much.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.